Everyone, I want to talk about a topic called heart rate variability. This is something that I've been tracking for several years now as part of my fitness regimen and to understand kind of where my body is and how things are going as a signal to if maybe I'm getting sick or how my fitness is improving. And I used a Whoop for a while. I've got a Garmin watch that tracks this. And what always confused me was everyone that I talked to said, yeah, heart rate variability, it's the distance or the time between heartbeats. And I was confused by this because I thought, well, isn't that your pulse? And also the second thing that confused me or I didn't really understand was everyone says the more variability, the better. And until I read this book called Mind Magic, which I'll be reviewing shortly, I didn't really understand why. So I just believed that more variability was better. But until I read this book, that really explained it in a much more easily digestible way for me. And so I wanted to share it with other folks that may be interested in learning more about heart rate variability. So essentially, if you think about maybe over a course of a minute, two different people could have 60 beats. And so that's 60 beats per minute. So that's the same pulse, that's their heart rate. But within there could be increments that are different. And so, for example, somebody who has a very consistent every second beat would have a lower heart rate variability versus somebody that has a beat maybe 0.8 seconds and then 1.2 seconds. And then on average, it's 60 beats in a minute. And so that kind of clarified in terms of how, heart rate variability can actually manifest itself with someone with the same pulse. So again, it's a variation between beats over time. And the health community has always said that the more variability you have, the better. And I never understood kind of why that was because it didn't make sense to me. Sort of counterintuitive that more variability would equal better health. So I put this little chart together to better explain what's going on here. When you're under stress, your sympathetic nervous system, kind of the fight or flight mode, is more triggered. So you're releasing more stress hormones. Your vagal tone goes down, which is relating to the vagus nerve, which basically is an indicator of how quickly you can respond to stress. And so that's what that is about. So the lower tone means that you're unable to respond, or I should say your recovery to stress is probably longer. And then your HRV, your heart rate variability, goes down. When you're more in a relaxed state and you have higher fitness, then your parasympathetic nervous system is more activated, which is the rest and digest part of your nervous system. It releases these positive hormones, your blood pressure goes down, you have lower inflammation, your vagal tone goes up because your response rate to stress and how you recover from stress is much better, much quicker, and that leads to a higher heart rate variability. So essentially, when you have a higher HRV, that means you're more in a relaxed state. Your parasympathetic nervous system is more activated, and you're getting the benefits from that. And that's why it's a better indicator of your health to have a higher heart rate variability due to these different features here. Some of the stuff that you can do to impact your HRV, these are the things largely in order of impact. Sleep consistency is super critical. Alcohol avoidance is critical. I actually stopped drinking regularly 3 years ago when I was wearing my Whoop band and it would tell me that my metrics are all out of whack. My sleep metrics were down. My HRV was down just after having a couple drinks at dinner. And so I really stopped most of my alcohol consumption. I drink, a couple times a year now, but it's really had a big impact. And of course, the stress is also a big impact. So this on a personal or professional level, stress would impact your HRV. Again, this is going back to the sympathetic nervous system being activated, your stress, your fight or flight mode. And so when you do that, your HRV tends to result in heart rate that's very consistent and stable, which is actually, again, counterintuitively to me, means that you're less able to adapt and recover from stress. And so I think I just want to share that because these are the two things that I was confused by. One, about how could heart rate variability lead to people with the same pulse but different HRVs, and then why is higher HRV, higher variability in your heart rate better? And I would say that also be mindful that everyone's HRV is different based on age and sex and things like that, and view it more as a trend. Are you staying at a consistent level? Are you increasing the variability? Is it going down? That could be indicators of less fitness, less sleep, more stress. Also could be an indicator of being sick, getting an illness coming on, because your HRV would tend to dip before you get sick, or at least you notice getting sick. So anyway, I just want to share these two things about HRV to you, and hope it's helpful in your fitness endeavors.